I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight, but you chose to be here with me, and for that I am forever grateful. A couple of things I'd like to go over before we get into tonight's show. Number one, we have some bad weather moving into my area, and when that happens, we typically lose our internet connection along with everything else in this third world country they call Louisiana. So if that happens, I'm very sorry. The other thing is I'm waiting on a kind of an important phone call right now that I have to take. So if it comes through, I will answer it, and you all will get to hear me get very upset with some people on the other end that I've been dealing with for 3 days now. And I about reached the point where my filter no longer exists with the public. So maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't expect it to happen because these people don't really want to talk to me because they know exactly what I'm going to say. So let's move forward, shall we? The witch hunt to crucify Donald J. Trump continues. Numerous Mar-a-Lago staff members have been subpoenaed as part of the investigation into former President Donald Trump's handling of classified documents. CNN reported that Trump's communication aide, person by the name of Margot Martin, isn't that neat that his name is Margot and he works for Mar-a-Lago, appeared before a grand jury in Washington, D.C. today. Though she declined to answer questions when approached by one of the media company's reporters, Special Counsel Jack Smith is handling the investigation to Trump over the FBI discovery of classified documents that were at his Palm Beach, Florida home in Mar-a-Lago, as well as his alleged involvement in the January 6, 2021, what they call a riot at the Capitol. That wasn't a riot. According to CNN and Fox News, Smith is looking for testimony from people in Trump's inner circle. So we can't just go with Trump. No, let's just go to everybody we can, and let's just keep looking until we can find a crime, including Mar-a-Lago staffers seeking insight into things that they may have seen or heard while working at the estate. Attorney General, wasted piece of shit Merrick Garland, appointed Smith to investigate the entirety of the criminal probe into the unlawful retention of national defense information at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. I'd like to know how they know that, because the FBI has not told us what those documents were. But now they're national defense documents. In the role, Smith will oversee the investigation of Trump's retention of the classified documents after leaving the White House, and whether he obstructed the federal government's investigation into the matter. U.S. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhart signed the warrant, giving agents the authority to seize all physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, or other items alleged possessed in violation of U.S. code, including documents with classification markings and presidential records created between January 20th, 2017 and January 20th of 2021. The property receipt shows FBI agents took approximately 20 boxes of items from premises, including one set of documents marked as various classified TS/TC or SCI documents, which refer to top secret sensitive compartmental information. And of course, as we all know, classified documents have also been found at two separate homes belonging to Joe Biden. In his garage next to his classic Corvette, at both of the offices that he had in between his vice presidency stint and becoming president. And also, we have found that former Vice President Mike Pence reached out on his own to the Department of Justice and said, hey, going through all my boxes of crap that came out of the White House or out of my home, I found some shit that you guys might want. It's going to be very interesting in the coming days, weeks, and months to find out how the DOJ handles this. You got a sitting president that has a shit ton of classified information that should have never left the White House, found in many locations, that's being treated completely different than Donald Trump. Now, on that respect, I will say this much. If I was advising Donald Trump, let's just say I was his attorney, why would you not tell them when they said, are there any more documents left there that weren't turned over? Why would you not say, yes, there are, but I declassified them, and then give them the opportunity to look at that? But he said there were none. Knowing damn good and well, he may have not known damn good and well, but his attorneys should have known damn good and well that the National Archives knew what was missing. And they're going to tell the FBI what we knew they're going to tell them, which is there's still X, Y, and Z not accounted for. But instead of doing that, they said there are none, which got the search warrant and which got the FBI to go raid his home. There are things that you just can't wrap your head around or try and figure out, because if you did, blood would start shooting out of all orifices of your body. So I'm not going to dive deeper into what Donald Trump was thinking or what his attorneys were thinking, but this whole thing could have been avoided as far as I'm concerned. I mean, just common sense tells you it could have been avoided, and it wasn't. And of course, if we know Trump took documents out of the White House he shouldn't have had, whether he declassified them or not, if we know Pence did it, if we know Joe Biden did it when he was vice president, when he was a member of Congress, you know damn good and well Obama did and Clinton did. But of course, they've put their shit through the fireplace and shredders way before now. So they're never going to get caught with the same fucking problem. And it appears to be a problem that some people just think that we can do whatever the hell we want, classified information. Oh, look at Hillary Rodham Clinton, for instance. We saw how that debacle unfolded, and the FBI and the Department of Justice gave the bitch a pass. So here's all I'm saying. Regardless of Trump's guilt or innocence, if the Department of Justice and the FBI are going to continue down this road and take him down, they better fucking do the same damn thing to Joe Biden and to Hillary Clinton. Otherwise, just say fuck it. Because you can't have a two-tier justice system where you allow certain people to get away with the same crimes that the other ones can't. That is absolutely not the way this was set up by our founding fathers. It is not the way that our justice system was put together. Lady Justice wears a blindfold for a reason, but apparently there are people in the Department of Justice and the FBI that are just not aware of that. And that is pretty damn frightening. I've said for a long time, and I will continue to say it, that there are things that come out of the government, whether it's Department of Justice, the FBI, or the Pentagon. And in this case, what I'm talking about next is the Pentagon. I'm not going to read anything to you. I'm just going to go off my own feelings about this because it's pretty concreted into my head that I'm so freaking sick and tired of the government lying to us. Just be honest. Even if you fuck up, just be held accountable for your actions and say, hey, I did this wrong. That's all we the people want. That's all we're asking for. So we've had drones flying around the Black Sea and all around Ukraine for quite some time now, helping Ukraine battle off Russia. This is nothing new. Hell, I've been watching it right here on my phone for quite some time, going to flight radar, and you can watch the drone. You can see it. You can also see the aerial refueling aircraft and stuff to go around there to help refuel aircraft that are participating in this operation. We are literally fighting a war with Russia via Ukraine, because without America, Ukraine would now belong to Russia. There's no way they could have held off the Russian military without our support and the support of NATO. Just isn't going to happen. Okay? But we're supplying them with the beans, the bullets, the aircraft, the tanks, the missiles, everything they need to defeat Russia. So this drone flying around that belongs to us, got somebody sitting back somewhere here in America operating it. Russia sends 2 of their fighter jets up to go fuck with it. And that's what they did. It's all video recorded. The entire incident is video recorded, although Russia is denying that it happened. The videos were released today. If you haven't seen them, look it up. It's all over the freaking internet. First thing the Russian jets did was they pulled in front of it, and then they opened up their dump fuel valves to dump fuel out of their tanks into and onto the drone in hopes that would knock it out of the sky. That didn't work. That's all on video. Next thing they did was they made a close pass to it, so close that it clipped the propeller of this thing, causing it to crash. Now, whether or not they did that on purpose or it was an accident, nobody knows. I can't imagine that you would fly that close to any other aircraft, being an aviator myself, without, you just wouldn't do that unless it was intentional. That's big ass fucking sky out there, and you're intercepting one object, and it's a drone, and it's flying way slower than your supersonic jet can fly. So the fact that they got that close to it, I would think that if this pilot did this on purpose, he's a freaking idiot, because it could have been dangerous and he could have crashed too and been killed. But nonetheless, here's where the lie comes in. So it crashes. And right away, we come out and we condemn this happening. We called the Russian ambassador to a big meeting, chastised him, chastised his government. He gets his response back from his folks, counterparts in Russia, that say we're making all this up, that it never happened. Of course, then the videos come out and prove that, it did happen. But here's the part that pisses me off, and it should you too. The Pentagon comes out and gives a press briefing about this incident and says that this particular type drone is highly, highly top secret. And we do not want it to fall into the hands of any other country. Period. We must retrieve this drone. And that, not to worry, we've already put a plan into action with our NATO partners to make sure that no other country gets their hands on this technology. Before that briefing was over with, Russia had a fucking ship over the top of where that drone was, and they're attempting to recover it. Now, why did they lie about this? What does the Pentagon have? What's the reason to come out and say, we've got this handled? Same way you did with the debacle of what happened in Afghanistan withdrawal. Same thing you did with what happened with the debacle in Benghazi. What is the point here? You told the American people, you told the reporters, we've already taken the actions necessary to make sure this does not end up in any other country's hands. And that wasn't true at all. It's not true. Now, what are we going to do? Now we're saying that, it's probably in 4,000 or 5,000 feet of water. But yet, today we find out, because the pictures are coming out from Russia, that they've got pieces of it that were floating on the surface of the water. They've already recovered that. And they said they're going to recover the rest of it. Now, because a human wasn't involved, it wasn't one of our aircraft with an actual pilot in it, is that going to change the rules of engagement with Russia? Is this going to ratchet up what's happening with our war with Russia? Because that's where we're at. The Cold War is back, my friends. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. This administration has put us right back into the Cold War. There's no other way of putting this. That's where we're at today. We are one step from one person fucking up and causing the other country to launch nuclear weapons. That's where we're at. That's what the Cold War was all about. That's what Ronald Reagan fought so hard to do away with and accomplished it. And for all these years, the Cold War has been lifted off our shoulders. And in just a matter of 2 years, in rolls this administration, and I'll be damned if we're not right back where we were prior to Ronald Reagan when it comes to nuclear weapons. That shit should be something that's on the top of the list of the CIA and the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate. Help fix this problem that this administration doesn't seem to have the balls to do. Something has to be done, and it needs to be done quickly before we end up in Armageddon. From what we've seen of Putin, he's a freaking nut job. He's no different than many of the other ones, like Saddam Hussein, or just the list of freaking terrorists that go on and on. Osama bin Laden, for instance. He's up there with that category of hatred towards the West. And I have a very strong feeling that we're not going in the right direction with what's happening with the billions of dollars that we're pouring into Ukraine, and the billions of dollars that this administration left of weaponry in the hands of the Taliban with the withdrawal of Afghanistan, and the $0 that's going to protect our southern border, where Border Patrol every week intercepts a new known terrorist on the watch list. So, to all you liberals out there, and you far left liberals and your liberal Democrats that think Joe Biden's doing such a great job, you can think that all you want. I'm just going to tell you this much. He's fucking this country, and he's fucking you. Doesn't matter who you are. What's taking place right now under this administration is criminal. It's not to change the fact that there are things that are taking place under Republican administrations that's fucking criminal too. But what we're doing right now, what I'm bitching about right now, is the situation we're in, that we're faced with. This administration is going down the wrong damn path. on many, many avenues. So let's move on and talk about how we got here. I've been bitching about this for a long time. Many other people have too, whether it's been on YouTube or Fox News or Washington Post or anywhere else. How did we get where we're at right now? How did we get to a point where people go to vote, young people go to vote, but they don't do their homework? Or they just vote on party lines because that's what their parents did? How do we get to the point where they don't look at the background of the person to determine if they had what it takes to live up to the oath that they're going to take to protect us? Well, I can tell you how we did it. We allowed the far left to infiltrate our school systems. And they are doing one hell of a job of taking kids, and they've been doing this for years now, since definitely prior to 9/11, and teaching them that America's hateful. It's no different than any other country. The American flag is racist. White people are racist. Cops are racist. They're teaching them to hate America. And they're pumping all kinds of sexual bullshit into their heads, where if they weren't doing this in a school setting, they would be arrested and charged and locked up and have to register as a sex offender. But since they're doing it in the school system as a teacher or a professor in a college, they get away with it. Again, goes back to our justice system being fucked up and allowing it to happen in the first place. So what am I talking about? Parents in Ohio are fighting a state constitutional amendment that would strip the rights of parents to give consent on abortion or gender-altering surgeries. Now, I know that some of you went, he didn't just say that. Let me repeat myself. Parents in Ohio are fighting a state constitutional amendment that would strip the rights of parents to give consent on their kids getting an abortion or gender-altering surgeries. Protect Women Ohio, PWO for short, which describes itself as a pro-woman, pro-parent coalition, launched a multi-million-dollar television and digital ad campaign statewide today aimed at defeating the extreme amendment to the Ohio Constitution. That amendment, supported by Ohioans of Reproduction Freedom and Ohio Physicians for Reproductive Rights, could be added to the November 2023 ballot coming up. It was approved by the Ohio Ballot Board this past Monday, meaning that proponents of the group now have to earn enough signatures to make it a ballot measure for November. The amendment states that every individual has a right to make and carry out one's own reproductive decisions, including but not limited to the decision on contraceptive, fertility treatment, continuing one's own pregnancy, miscarriage care, and abortion. While Republican politicians in Columbus and Washington are working overtime to implement extreme laws that would make abortion illegal in the left's mind, we're committed to work on getting common sense abortion rights on the ballot and passed by the majority of Ohioans, said Ohio Democrat Party Chairwoman Elizabeth Walters, who supports the amendment. Opponents of the bill, like Judicial Chris Network's Kerry Servo and Frank Sciritro, said the amendment would effectively obliterate most limits to abortion or sex change surgery among its other far-reaching consequences for parents having any information about it. Headlines have largely framed the proposed amendment as means to add a right to abortion to the state's constitution. The duo said in an op-ed on Monday published in the National Review. The proposed amendment would outlaw virtually any restrictions on abortion and all other procedures, including sex change surgeries that touch on reproduction for both adults and minors. It would cancel out not only parental consent laws, but also mirror parental notification for minors, abortions, or sex change surgeries. Strike down health protections for people of all ages who undergo these procedures, including requirements that a qualified physician perform them, and erase any meaningful limits to late-term abortions. Moms and dads will be cut out of the most important life-altering decisions in their child's life if it passes, said Molly Smith, the PWO board member, yesterday. This extreme amendment eliminates any current or future protections for minors, requiring parents to be notified and consent before their child undergoes a procedure like sex change or abortion. Now, number one, the people that support this bill, I'm just going to go on a limb here and guess that they don't have kids. Listen, my kids are grown now. I don't have any minors other than my special needs son, and he's an adult legally. So, but I think back to when they were in, let's just say, junior high school. If one of them decided, if my daughter decided she got pregnant and wanted an abortion, and an educator took her to get one and didn't notify me, they'd be held to fucking pay. If one of my sons decided they wanted to be a girl and an educator took them to a doctor to have their shit cut off, there would be some other shit cut off. I would go 51-50, and there'd be some shit go down. I'd be in fucking prison wearing orange and probably on death row. I'd be damned if I would allow that to have happened to one of my children. And these fucking far left liberal Democrats up in Ohio, and it's not just Ohio, my friends. Oh, it's spreading all over the country with this radical, absolute nonsense directed at our children. Think it can't get worse? Let's continue. An Oregon high schooler has pulled a suggestive class assignment asking students to write a short story about a sexual fantasy after backlash from parents. Health class students who miss coursework at Church Hill High School in Eugene, Oregon, were asked via Canvas, an online learning management system, to complete a 10-point assignment titled Fantasy Story. For those students who are absent, you will write a short story of a paragraph or two. This story is a sexual fantasy that will have no penetration of any kind or oral sex. The assignment also asks students to choose 3 items, such as candles, massage oil, feathers, a flavored syrup to use in the story. Your story should show that you can show and receive loving physical affection without actual intercourse. The teacher, Kirk Miller, added at the end of the assignment. Kirk Miller at Church Hill High School in Eugene, Oregon. The assignment was posted to a Facebook group and received hundreds of comments from parents within the hour. If an adult male asked my daughter to share her sexual fantasies with him, I'd be livid and going to the police, said one parent. No teacher has any business asking this of a child, said another parent. One of the parents concerned about this assignment, Catherine Rogers, said students in the class felt mortified, awkward, and kind of creeped out. The district reviews these curriculums before they get approved, right? Did they actually read this? This was reviewed. How did it slip through the cracks? I could see this easily becoming a national scandal, one parent told Oregon Live. Following the backlash, school principal Missy Cole sent out a letter to parents notifying that the administration is working with its district office to review the adopted secondary health curriculum our whole lives to determine the full content of the assignment. At this time, the assignment has been removed from the class and will not be part of the student's grade. The curriculum is utilized by many districts across the state and is endorsed by the Oregon Department of Education, she said. Cole also said families are provided their child's course syllabus at the beginning of each term and can opt their student out of any and all coursework. She said the school welcomes reviews and discussions of the curriculum by families. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. If it is true, then shame on the parents for not bringing this to everybody's attention like when they first read it. And if it isn't true, then they need to speak up and show what was presented to them and that this wasn't part of it. Additionally, the district has begun to the process of reviewing and selecting a new health curriculum to replace the OWL content that will be completed by the end of the school year, Cole said. On Monday, the Eugene 4J School District confirmed that the assignment was given to students, but had since been pulled and would not be used for grading purposes. In a statement to the New York Post, OWL program manager Melanie Davis said the district was following an authorized and out-of-content facilitated group activity currently out of print. The fact that it ever got into print in the first place, asking high schoolers or junior high school kids to fucking talk about their sexual fantasies, is mind-boggling. How the fuck does anyone think this is okay? Those responsible for this need to fucking have to register as sex offenders and do time in prison. That's what would happen if you tried to do this on the street to a minor. So why is law enforcement not involved? Right now, actively fucking involved and taking some people away. The adults that thought this was okay to do. The assignment drew the attention of at least one school board member, Gordon Laffer, L-A-F-E-R, who said the homework on sexual fantasies should not be part of our curriculum. I'm glad one school board member spoke up. The rest of you can go fuck yourselves. You shouldn't be anywhere near the school system. Further scrutiny of the Health to Human Sexuality class found that students were also given an assignment called, "With Whom Would You Do It?" The project involved a virtual spinning wheel labeled with sexual categories. Students were allegedly instructed to respond when the wheel stopped. Speaking to KEZ, parent Justice McCall said his daughter was very, very, very uncomfortable in class throughout the assignment, especially when the teacher put up the generated spinning wheel and it landed on anal penetration, and also up there was oral sex. Her and her best friend did not participate any further, but they still got a grade of passing. These are the people that are going to vote in the future. The kids that are being taught that Black Lives Matter is not a domestic terrorist organization and that Black Lives Matter really is out there protecting Black lives, and that police officers are all bad people that wake up every day and want to go out and gun down unarmed, innocent young black males. That's what they're teaching these kids. They're teaching them that the military is bad. Going into the National Guard or going to the reserves is bad. It's horrible. Why would you do something like that? Teaching them about the scary black weapons. Doing everything in their power to teach them that our forefathers were a bunch of racist bigots and that this country was founded on hate and bigotry. That's what's being taught. Not just this sexual bullshit that shouldn't be there in the first place. Moving on. Speaking of terrorists, my gosh, this is going to be some scary shit what I'm about to share with you. 2.5 tons. That's a lot. A ton's a lot. 2.5 tons of natural uranium. You know, that's needed to make a nuclear bomb. Have gone missing from a non-government site in Libya, according to a statement from the United Nations International Atomic Agency. UN nuclear watchdog inspectors made the discovery while carrying out an inspection that was postponed last year because of the country's deteriorating security situation. A one-page statement by the IAEA obtained by Reuters says watchdog inspectors found that 10 barrels of around 2.5 tons of uranium or concentrate were not present at the location Libya officials said it would be. The statement said IAEA would investigate further to determine the circumstances of the uranium removal from the site, which was not identified. The agency acknowledged that the missing nuclear material presents a radiological risk as well as a nuclear security concerns. Libya's security deteriorated following the NATO-backed uprising and ousting of the country's leader, Gaddafi, back in 2011. Since 2014, rival political factions have competed for control, with the last bout of conflict ending in 2021. The division of the nation, rich in oil, has fueled violence between armed groups and driven untold members of unsafe journeys from Libya across the Mediterranean. Many of these end up drowning, being killed, kidnapped, lost, whatever. But the main ingredients to make a dirty bomb or a nuclear weapon, 2.5 tons, has vanished from Libya, where it was being kept. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz said yesterday that he disagrees with the Biden administration's move to end the border wall construction back in 2021, while arguing that infrastructure would help agents do their job. Ortiz spoke at a Homeland Security Committee hearing in McAllen, Texas, and was asked by Representative Josh Bridgman about whether he supported wall construction, which had expanded dramatically under the Trump administration, but was abruptly halted when President Biden entered office. I do not believe in a wall from sea to shining sea, but I do believe in infrastructure and barrier systems in concentrated areas, especially urban areas, Ortiz said. And it's always been our practice from 2006, when I was an agent in charge of West Texas, to now. But I also don't agree that we should tear down perfectly good barrier systems to install something that is based upon requirements that we developed over the last few years. Ortiz said that Customs and Border Protection had tore down perfectly good infrastructure systems in some areas that we should have left alone in places like Del Rio, Texas. Bridgman followed up by asking Ortiz specifically about the wall that had been appropriated by the Trump administration, but has been canceled by the Biden administration. Under the prior administration, we had 200 plus miles of wall appropriated, and President Biden, by executive order, shut that down, he said. Do you disagree with the decision to shut down construction? Yes, sir, Ortiz responded. Ortiz was also asked if he supports the Remain in Mexico policy. Trump-era policy shut down by the Biden administration, which kept migrants in Mexico for their hearings. And he responded that he supports any policy that's going to allow us to repatriate individuals back to their home countries. The remarks came at a hearing during which Ortiz told lawmakers the Department of Homeland Security did not have operational control of this border, although they claim they do. He also backed agents who've been accused falsely of whipping hating migrants in 2001 when they were on horseback, and also suggested that policies were in place that were damaging Border Patrol abilities to do their jobs. Meanwhile, Department of Homeland Security said that the hearing highlighted the vital work of the Department of Homeland Security does every day to enforce our laws, secure our border, and combat cartels and smugglers, and pointed to testimony from Ortiz and other witnesses that showed new programs, technology, and investments are making a real impact. Good God, what a lie. Despite inheriting a dismantled immigration system and facing unprecedented migration that is affecting nations throughout the Western Hemisphere, this administration has surged resources to the border, reducing the number of encounters between ports of entry, disrupting some or more smuggling operations than ever before, and intercepting more drugs in the last 2 years that have been stopped in the past 5 years. The Homeland Security spokesperson said, the department welcomes input from Congress and looks forward to working with members of the legislation solution for broken immigration system, which Congress has not reformed in the last 40 years. The fact that they can lie their ass off and know they're lying, it's like they should win a fucking Oscar for this. It's insane. These are people entrusted with keeping America safe, and they're lying. And if that wasn't bad enough, now that the Republicans are in charge of the House and all these committees, this particular committee that's dealing with the border, guess who's not showing up? They're not there. They're boycotting it. Every single Democrat on that committee refuses to show up for these hearings. Every single one of them. Only the Republicans are there. What does that tell you? What does that say? Other than they don't want to be faced with factual information coming directly from those involved with our southern border. They have no business in the United States Congress. None. Zero. I don't give a fuck if you like what we're talking about or not what they're talking about. Show up and do your damn job. Ask the questions that you think should be asked. Call the Border Patrol out in the hearing and say, oh, I don't believe you. And show your evidence that, oh, by the way, you don't have, because they all know the truth. They know what this administration's done on our border. They're stupid, but they also know exactly what's happening. But it's not the right talking points for this administration, so therefore they claim it's just a political stunt by the Republicans. So they don't show up to the hearings. We've been talking a lot, the news has, about China. I've been talking about it. Hell, even CNN's been talking about it. There's a problem. There's a serious problem with China. And to prove the point how serious this is, hold on. This might be the call I'll tell you about in the beginning of tonight's show. Hello, this is Douglas. Wait, hold on 1 second. Let me put you on. I'm sorry, say that again?
I'm calling from Spectrum Charter on a recorded line.
Good.
I'm calling because we received the escalation ticket from you.
Yeah.
The notes on the ticket weren't too clear. Can you kind of explain to me what's going on?
I'll be more than happy to explain to you what's going on. So my parents live in a rural area in Pine Grove, Louisiana, where there's nobody else around them. They have their phone, their internet, and their TV service through you guys. 3 days ago, the line was cut by somebody moving a trailer out there. And finally, after many phone calls by me, somebody arrived yesterday to verify that, yes, the line had been cut, and eventually they would get somebody out there to fix it. But I said, that's not that simple. The problem is my dad's 85, my mom's 80, dad's 100% disabled. Mom just had a heart pacemaker put in. They've got no way to call 911. There's no neighbor they can go yell at for. They're just screwed. If they have a health emergency, they're fucked. They're going to die because they can't get help. And this son of a bitch showed up yesterday out there, said, oh, wait, we have fixed that. I will escalate that to an emergency situation. And then went about making some phone calls and said, tomorrow morning, we will have a crew out here to fix that right away. Well, guess what? That's come and gone, and it's now 8:47 p.m. and nobody's shown up. And every time I call and every time I send messages, I get the same song and dance. Oh, we're going to get to it immediately. Somebody's going to call you for the next 30 minutes. We're going to have a crew out there right away. In the meantime, if I want to find out if my parents are alive or dead, I've got to call somebody in Baton Rouge that drives out there to check on them and see if they're okay. And that's not okay. Now, and I'm sorry for being angry. I'm sorry for raising my voice, but I'm a 4-time combat veteran, and I'm just fucking tired of the incompetence that I'm watching happening across our entire nation, much less now this affecting my mom and dad.
I definitely understand because I would feel some type of way about my parents.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, so can mom and dad answer the door?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what they're saying. I'm looking at the notes on why they didn't fix it because that didn't even sound right to me.
My mom answered the door.
Mom did answer the door?
Yes, and mom talked to the technician.
And this was on the 15th, correct?
This was yesterday.
Yeah, the 15th. So,
yes.
Okay, then what I'm going to do personally, I'm going to send an email out to the supervisor. But hold on 1 second. Let me go speak to my supervisor.
Sure. Do I have the right to be pissed off? Get this kind of shit that's happening all across this country. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. They just don't care. What a special event tonight. Who knew? Something happens to one of my parents and they die because they couldn't call 911. I'm going to own these motherfuckers. Anyhow, hang around. You're really going to want to hear this. I'm looking at the chat. My wife says he's being nice right now. They can at least play some music that's worth listening to. Oh, look, I found a way to communicate with my parents. It's a Craftsman 25-foot tape measure. Raise the antenna. Hi, Mom and Dad. Are y'all okay out there? Hello? That's how fucking dumb this is. So while we're waiting, this next story about China, Joe Biden's not very happy about right now. Because why? It's coming from the commander of naval intelligence for the United States Navy. He's finally spoke up and said, we have a problem. We have a problem, Houston. Snow Joe and his son Hunter, knee deep in all that shit over there in China. They made millions. Guess I give you all an update on Peanut. Peanut is doing better, and we're very blessed. Gator Girl, on the other hand, is now ill and had to go to the vet today, and that was $555. You know, they say that, well, they don't say actually. They don't warn people, and they probably should, that if you're going to have a pet, you need to be responsible for that pet, and it's going to require you to be responsible for having to pay for vet bills. And a lot of people don't do that, and they don't take care of their pets, and they don't take them to the vet because they cost so much damn money, and there's like no insurance really out there, not like we have for humans. And that's sad. But animals can cost as much as kids do. I do believe I've spent more money on my animals over the years than I have my kids as far as out of pocket's concerned. Oh, it's an upbeat song. I think this part's done on purpose. Let's see how much we can piss him off.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I want to let you know that as I walked up to my supervisor and talked to him about it, they're already currently working on the situation because the email has already been sent. I guess from whoever the last person you spoke to, they are currently working on it and trying to get this situation resolved.
Currently working on it as in they're going to be out there tonight with lights, working overtime, fixing it, or are they going to show up tomorrow sometime?
Honestly, they didn't give me an answer. I'm waiting for the email response now.
Okay. Just share something with them. If something happens to one of my parents and they die because they couldn't dial 911, I've got all this documented, what's been going on here. I'm going to sue the hell out of that company. This is just not acceptable. It's just not. You know, it's not your fault. And thank you so much for doing what you're doing. But Spectrum needs to pull their head out of their ass out there in Pine Grove. And I'm sure it's probably not even you guys. You'll probably have a contractor out there doing it, you know, that's just not doing their job. So thank you for looking into this. I sure do appreciate it. And hopefully we will get this fixed ASAP.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Have a good night.
I hope your parents will be okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye-bye. All right. That was fucking fun. Where was I? The commander of naval intelligence for the United States Navy has called the average American naive to the threats posed by China, saying the nation suffers from a China blindness problem. A competition between the countries reaches new heights. Rear Admiral Mike Stedman, commander of the Office of Naval Intelligence, made the remark February 15th. Breaking defense news reported at the height of the fallout over the Chinese balloon that Biden allowed to fly over the entire continental United States before finally shooting it down. Although we can shoot down unknown objects, but we can't shoot down a known Chinese balloon. You get where I'm going with this? I'll be very honest with you. It's very unsettling to see how much the U.S. is not connecting the dots to our number one challenge, the Director of Naval Intelligence said. This was during the U.S. Naval Institute's West 2023 conference that was held in San Diego, California on February 15th. It's disturbing how ill-informed and naive the average American is on China. I chalk this up, if I could summarize, into a China blindness. We face a knowledgeable crisis and a China blindness problem, he added. U.S. officials have increasingly sounded alarms about China in recent years, and relations between the two countries plunged to a new low in the spy balloon incident. China claimed that it was a wayward civilian weather balloon, but the U.S. has described it as part of a broader surveillance program run by the Chinese People's Liberation Army that has targeted more than 40 countries across the globe. Stedman reportedly suggested that the so-called China blindness may stem from the military's tendency to classify more information than is necessary. In other words, instead of being honest with us about how we might die and who wants to kill us, let's classify it and not shock everyone. And that'll lend us to get the news media to spin it as it's not that big of a deal. And then when you see the president and his family making billions of dollars from business dealings, and we can't find the business they were in, they don't make shit, they don't sell shit. What kind of business dealings make you that kind of money with China? Frankly, I've been in a struggle for some time with the intelligence community to be able to actually downgrade some of the things that we see that are truly damning with regards to what the Chinese are doing and while they're doing it, and get those out to the public domain, he said. Stedman reportedly ended his remarks by asking government officials to tamp down on the baits that distract from external threats. Can we please lower the amount of internal bickering within the United States and focus on the international challenges that actually affect every American citizen? That's the Director of Naval Intelligence. Well, sir, I agree 100% with you. However, the current president of the United States, his brother, his son Hunter, and other family members that we're finding out about now are all in bed with the Chinese Communist Party until the Department of Justice and the FBI get off their wasted dead asses and fix that little problem. Nothing, and I'll repeat, nothing will happen that's positive for the American people when it comes to threats against our country. Anyhow, you have many places to be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Please like, subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends and family about it. If you haven't already done so, please go to douglasducote.com. Check out the website. It's constantly updated. We're updating it almost every day now. Also, check out my other YouTube channel, Charlie Hotel 47. And in the description of this video and all my shows and all my videos, you can see the other places you can follow me on social media platforms. Please subscribe, send me a friend request. I'll be happy to respond and do the same for you. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our Angel families, our Blue and Gold Star families, and our country. And if you don't know what Angel families are or Blue and Gold Star families, please look that up tonight. I beg you, because they need our support more than ever before, because the current administration is pissing on the graves of their loved ones, literally. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed evening. If anything breaks between now and next week, I'll be sure to do a video about it or do a live show. Other than that, if you're in the path of this storm that's fixing to move across the country, please be safe wherever you're at. And come back on next Tuesday, and we do this again with some more incredible, absolutely dumbfounding, mind-boggling, crazy shit that's happening with our own country. Take care, everyone. I'll see you.